This thing is clapped. Welcome back to Team Performance TV, guys. Today we're going to be redoing these valve covers off a 2002 Lexus IS 300. I'm only going to be using materials you could buy at AutoZone or Home Depot just to make it a DIY. You can get a professional finish even if you use materials from Home Depot or any auto parts store. I'm using a regular scuff pad to scuff it up and smooth out any edges or ridges that I saw. These things are fairly smooth, but the paint is beat. Everyone's budget is different. If it's not in your budget to powder coat, this is a viable option. The more thorough you scuff this, the better the paint's going to adhere to it and not flake off. This is where you're going to spend most of your time, scuffing this and prepping it. The painting is going to be like 5 minutes. If your valve cover has any fittings on it, be sure to remove it before you put any paint down. So after that long time of prepping, it's time to clean it. I'm using rubbing alcohol that's repurposed in a Windex bottle that I had laying around. There's going to be grease, dirt, oil, all kinds of contaminants on this. You want to make sure and get all of it off before you put paint on. If you leave it there and you paint over it, the paint's just going to peel off. Look at how much dirt I pulled off after one wipe. There was so much dirt around the bolt holes, I had to get a little detail brush to get in there. Don't be afraid to use the solvent as much as you need because you don't want this thing being dirty while you paint it. Again, as you can see, the prep stages are the longest of all. After thoroughly cleaning both, I give them a once over again with a new paper towel and more alcohol. Now it's time to mask off wherever you don't want paint to go, like this hose fitting or the oil cover. This kind of job gets tedious, but once you take your time and you have patience, it'll come out exactly how you want it. Here you see me using my fingernail to get in the groove, just so I have an idea of where to put the razor blade to cut the excess tape off. Instead of using your fingernail, you can use a pen, pencil, Sharpie, whatever you have available. Razor blades are really sharp, so take your time. There's no rush. Just go easy and be sure to not cut yourself. If if you cut the tape properly, it should come off just like this. It's almost time to paint. I put a piece of cardboard down because I don't want to get yelled at for painting this table. Make sure your cardboard is clean. You don't want any dust flying up while you're painting. So I'm repainting these valve covers in the same gold. It's VHT Gold Flake. You could buy it in AutoZone, Advance, any one of those auto parts store. Whatever paint you choose, make sure it can withstand high temperatures because, yet again, it is on an engine. So it is November in the Northeast. It is cold. I didn't want to paint on a cold surface. A heat gun does wonders. When you spray paint on a warm surface, it adheres better and it also dries faster. Now it's finally time to paint. You have to do a test spray first just to make sure that tip is clean and you don't get anything coming out of the spray can or gun to screw up your paint job. When painting, you don't want to spray and finish on the surface. You want to go a little bit more just so you don't get any hard lines. After the first coat, I hit it with the heat gun one more time just to make sure it stays warm. After you finish spraying the first coat, you give it 5 to 10 minutes to dry, and then you go back with the heat gun again and you start the second coat. Depending on the severity of your valve cover, you're going to need multiple coats just to make sure there's full coverage. I know it looks like I'm putting coat after coat, but there are 10-minute intervals between the coats. Once I saw that everything was covered fully, it was time to hit it with the clear. When spraying the clear, you have to slow down, but make sure to not run the paint. If you run the paint, it'll show and it will look like you don't know what you're doing. And here's what it looks like after 2 coats of the clear coat as a finished product. The clear takes longer to dry, being that it is thicker. So we waited about half an hour before we actually could touch it, and we're going to refresh it with some new valve cover gaskets. When peeling off the masking tape, be sure that you take your time because you can pull the paint up if it's not prepped properly. I had to make sure it was dry, so I did a couple test touches. We didn't put the gaskets on prior to paint because we didn't want paint getting on the gasket and probably compromising it. We just have to give it a couple of quick presses just to make sure the valve cover gasket sat properly, and then we move to the next. It's satisfying to see such a straight line after pulling off that masking tape. And here's what it looks like on the engine. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you made it this far into the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you.